Welcome, everybody, to the Miami Dolphins versus Green Bay Packers Thanksgiving preview of this game. So, before I talk about this, a couple reasons why I'm doing this preview right now. Because usually I do these previews, 2 days before, and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So, I'm doing it today because Wednesday there will be two games that I have to watch. And if I even attempt to try to do it early on Thanksgiving Day, I could not be able to do so because like most of us, I'm going to see family. I'm going up pretty much out of town, going upstate. So getting the preview done in the family house and especially early in the day is just not possible. So that's one of the reasons. And reason number two is I have the gap here today, and tomorrow it's just gonna be busy, and then Wednesday, like I said, with two games. So right now is the best time to do it, and plus it gives us a chance to talk a little bit more about the possibility of the weather and stuff like that, and we have a conversation, you know what I mean? So that's kind of the reason why I want to do it today, and plus too, I want to get it done, get this over with, so that everyone can enjoy it the rest of the day before the Panthers game tonight. So, Thanksgiving matchup between the Miami Dolphins and the Green Bay Packers. So, this is a big game. This is going to be a big game for numerous of reasons. One, the Dolphins are on the playoff hunt. So they're trying to go on this little playoff push that they really, really need. And especially coming off of a win against the New England Patriots, they're feeling good. However, Green Bay also came out with the win, a pretty big win against the Niners. The 49ers, they beat them 38-10 at Lambeau. Oh gosh. Was 49ers a Super Bowl team? And they end the game blown out by Jordan Love. So this game is going to be tough in all calibers, and I'll explain why. So before we talk about this, the Green Bay Packers schedule, the regular season so far, they are 8-3 of the year so far. The first game was in Brazil. They played in Brazil against the Eagles, and while it's a really good game, it all came down to Saquon Barkley with the Philadelphia Eagles winning that game 34-29. There was some controversy when it comes to Brazil, but we can just end it off right there. You guys know what I'm talking about. Then the next game is against the Colts. They go back up to the United States to beat at Lambeau to play against the Colts, and they not surprising they beat them there, which is why I'm double pissed off at that loss. And then especially when they go to Tennessee, they beat the Titans there 30-14, and then losing to the Minnesota Vikings 31-29 at Lambeau. So a big win for the Vikings. While the comeback fell short, the Vikings still had an upper hand against the Packers, and no shame in losing to the Vikings. The Vikings are a good team this year. But then they go to SoFi to play against the Rams, and they beat the Rams 24-19. Then come back home to play against the Cardinals, and they beat the crap out of them there. That's why I'm even more pissed off. Then a thriller win against the Houston Texans, and then another thrilling win against the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville, Florida. But then they come back to play against the Detroit Lions, and they lost to the Lions by 10 points. No shame in losing to the Lions. I think the story with the Detroit Lions is very good. Gives us the motivation, gives anybody motivation. Their story is just absolutely fantastic. So no offense to Green Bay Packers fans, but I like Detroit in this one. But then they go to Chicago to play against the Bears. They beat the Bears 20-19 with the blocked field goal. I've seen all over TikTok that, Bears fans were absolutely losing their minds. So that it's yeah. And then the Niners game, no issues with the Niners at this point at Lambeau. And then, for the Dolphins, they're coming in this game with 5-6 record. They're 2-3 on the road. The two games that they won on the road was at Gillette and at SoFi Stadium. While the Packers are 4-2. So It's Tua versus Jordan Love, Achan versus Josh Jacobs, who has a pretty good season. He only has 3 rushing touchdowns, but he has 106 yards. Actually, 3 touchdowns in that game. Let's talk. What about the season? So his season, in the season alone, is 944 yards. That's crazy. That is literally crazy. So Josh Jacobs going to be a menace to try to stop, especially on the defensive front. 7 rushing touchdowns. He also has 1 receiving touchdown, so he has 8 touchdowns on the year. So stopping Josh Jacobs is going to be hard. It's going to be hard enough. So what is Anthony Weaver has to come up with something, especially since we might not have Anthony Walker. We're still not without Bradley Chubb. I think Bradley Chubb will be out for the season, if I'm being honest. And then of course Jalen Phillips. This is where I really miss Jalen Phillips in this situation because he couldn't be able to stop the run game, and he can also be able to stop the quarterback from doing this thing. So that's one of the reasons why. And then of course you got Tyreek Hill versus Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed, of the season, with 4 touchdowns. He also has a rushing touchdown, so he has 5 of the season. But he has, as the season alone, 669 yards of the season so far. 4 touchdowns, like I just said. But although you can't sleep on Jalen Waddle because Jalen Waddle had himself a really good game. So this is the situation here. So we go to Lambeau. Temperature is supposed to be late 20s. That's the forecast. There could be some snow, given on the weather from the lakes, but we don't know for sure. Right now, let me go back to the weather. Like I said, I'm going to recap. Green Bay, Wisconsin, because that's in Wisconsin. Let's see here. Okay, so there's rain, nothing to talk about there. Yeah, so I got partly sunny of the forecast, but in the nighttime at 8:20 Eastern time, it's going to be cloudy. It's going to be cloudy in this game, probably some winds, but the temperature, make no mistake, the temperature will be at the 20s level. So they can play this. They can play in the cold weather, Tua and the Dolphins, but can they win in it? It's the adaptation of the Dolphins team that they need to figure it out. Excuse me. Excuse me. So yeah. And in terms of injuries, Walker questionable with the hamstring. Stahl is going to be out. Jeff Wilson is still out. Andrew Meyer is out, and Muhammad Kamara is out. Now for the Green Bay Packers, Dobbs would be out. Would be questionable. Oladapo is out. Monk, their center, is out. Cooper, Edgar and Cooper is going to be inactive, and Jared Alexander, cornerback, is also going to be probably going to be inactive. But all of them said estimated return is November 28th, which is Thanksgiving. So we don't know for sure because today is Monday. We'll know more when the day of. So yeah, it's going to be on NBC or Peacock, depending on what you have. In terms of head-to-head record, as shocking as it sounds, Miami still has a overall series against the Packers. They're 10-6, but recently they went on a losing streak, and I think a couple of years ago on Christmas they should have won that game. They really should have won that game against the Packers for real. And then Tua got hurt in that game, and then we end up getting snuck in from against the Jets in that season. But the last time the Dolphins beat the Packers, right? The last time we beat the Packers was October 17th, 2010. We won that game 23-20. It was at Lambeau Field, man, mind you. Lambeau Field. That was the last time we won that game at Lambeau Field and beating the Packers as a whole. Chad Henne was our quarterback at that season. 23 completions, 231 yards in the game, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. You know who was their quarterback at that time? Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers was their quarterback of that game. Our defense was the one that was stopping Aaron Rodgers from doing most of his thing. We sacked Aaron Rodgers 5 times in that game. So, yeah. So if any new Dolphins fans are asking, have we ever beaten Aaron Rodgers? Yes, we did. We beat him before he become the almighty he is. I think it was that Super Bowl season with the Packers. I could be wrong. It might have been, but we beat the Super Bowl team, so at least I can't complain about that. But all kidding aside, that was the last time we beat the Packers. The first time we lost to the Packers was 1997. 1997 is when we lost to the Packers for the first time. So on that year, it was it was Brett Favre versus Dan Marino. That year, we lost to the Packers at that game, 18-23. But before that we lose to the Packers for the first time, they dominated the Packers. Okay, they dominated them. They went on an 8-game to start the franchise, and then beating the Packers, eight straight wins against the Packers. 8 straight wins to start against the Packers. So yeah, we know a thing or two about beating the Packers at the time. So, yeah, and also due to the fact that it's also going to be a Lambeau, the atmosphere for the Packers fans is going to be ginormous. It's going to be crazy. Everyone's going to be excited. And one more note with the Miami Dolphins team: kill the narrative of not being able to beat against a pretty formidable team like the Green Bay Packers, who have a over 500 record, because that is the Dolphins' weakness for a few years now. The Dolphins, and I'm going to say this with the certainty too, Tua has to adapt from it. He needs to figure out how to channel the importance of winning a game, especially if it's coming from the playoff push that they absolutely need. And beating the Packers might do just that, but you have to kill the narrative. You have to prove that you can beat and then hold out well against a team like the Packers, any team with the over 500 record. You have to do it. The Dallas Cowboys game was big, but that was the only time we beat a over 500 team. Everybody else, like the Eagles, albeit there was some referee bullshit. The Buffalo Bills. There's one more. The Chiefs, unfortunately. But you have to kill the narrative. You have to do in this game. Prove it to the world that you're not some suck up losers just beating some crappy teams. Beat this team, and you might get the respect, and they're probably going to be changing their opinions. Okay? But you have to do it against the Packers. Okay? The upcoming schedule with the Miami Dolphins after this game on Thanksgiving is the Jets at Hard Rock. They are 3-8. They're probably going to be 4-8 or 3-9. I don't know for certainty. Aaron Rodgers is still going to be their quarterback by that time. Another over 500 game that we're probably going to see is the Houston Texans. That's going to be in Houston, so it's tough enough to play in Houston already. But to beat a pretty good Houston team, you have to be able to try to provide that. The Niners, we might be able to match up better against the Niners, but they probably would be the over 500 team by the time we talk about the Niners. Cleveland, you probably can beat Cleveland, even if it's cold as hell. And that's going to be a Sunday night game. And then one more against the Jets at MetLife at the Meadowlands. So playoff push is going to be critical for the Miami Dolphins. They have to do it. And the way to start, and the 3-game winning streak is good, but going on a 4-game winning streak and beating the Packers, the formidable Green Bay Packers, kill the narrative. And maybe, just maybe, we can talk about playoffs again. I'm just saying. A lot of guys we missed from their defensive line. Can our offensive line hold up against the Packers pass rush? Can they do it? This is why I was aching for Chris Grier to upgrade our offensive line. I'm still to this day aching for a better offensive line. Hopefully for next season, because it's not going to be this season, but hopefully for next season, we upgrade offensive line, and Tua will be the monster in the pocket, and we'll see what happens here. We'll see what happens. All right, well, that's going to do it for this one. And in case if I don't see you on Thursday, I'm going to say it early on because today is Monday. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. It is Thanksgiving week. Once again, I do apologize for getting this video early, even though I probably should have done it early on Thanksgiving, but there are circumstances where it has to be, family matters. Family always going to come first, no matter if it's a job, if it's a hobby. Family is always going to come first, and I hope people will understand that. So anyway, folks, that's going to do it for this one. If you have enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe for content, because Miami TVG has your back, and what he does, he'll be right there with you for entertainment you deserve. Fins up, kill the narrative. Kill the narrative. Hey, look, even if we lose to the Packers, it's no shame to lose to the Packers anyway, but you would like to get it done. You would like to get it done and kill the narrative. But even then, you might still have a shot of making it to get a playoff push. But you got to get it done. Okay? You got to get it done because, hey, still a shot. Anyway, folks, that's going to do it. I'll see you guys next time. Actually, no, I'll see you tonight for the Panthers recap. All right? Everybody, have a good one.